So Bitcoin momentarily pushed above 90,000. The most hated villain in crypto, Tom Lee, was discussed here on the channel yesterday, and I have some very interesting insights for you. So Bitcoin right now, 88,500, sitting just above our support zone here, and really there's just some incredible chop going on. I think it's very hard to define what this pattern is, but some may call it a double bottom, and others call it other things, which we're going to be going through in a second. For me right now, we're just seeing extreme volatility between really the ranges of 94,000 and 85,000 as a support right now. All is on the cards. Can we pump? Can we dump? Time will tell, but it's what you think will happen using your strategy and how you position yourself right now, which will probably change your investing career, because right now people are angry and the anger is palatable. So much anger in this space, and so much anger at this space directed at people like Tom Lee. Tom Lee has been bullish for many years. One of his most famous calls was Bitcoin above $100,000, I think in 2024. The market was very happy with this when Bitcoin broke in 2025, but now they're using that against him because he was wrong with about a year time frame there. Now he thinks it's going to be bullish next year, and the market is very angry again because they feel like he led them off a cliff. Now, guys, this is the wrong mentality to have. We've been over this so many times. It's not going to be another pep talk. But if you're blaming someone like Tom Lee for your Ethereum purchase, for your Bitcoin purchase, or for whatever it is, that is the wrong mentality. That is a loser's mentality. All right. So use this market as a way to learn. If you blame someone else for your actions, it's a loser mentality. No one's going to get rich doing that. And our plan is, of course, to make money, right? So let's just flip the switch and let's use this opportunity as a learning process. I myself followed people in 2017, which led me down a pathway to lose all of my money. Now, using people's views, expertise, opinion can help in your research, in your strategy, but you should not be blindly following anyone. Just like Tom Lee in his own companies, Fundstrat has people with differing opinions. In his own company, Fundstrat, his own analysts is bearish. Now, this is a leaked email, and it is a bearish email from Sean Farrell directed at paying clients, right? Saying his base case is a meaningful drawdown in 2026, with Bitcoin falling to 60K, Ethereum to 1,800, and Solana to $50 to $75. This is a bearish opinion, while Tom Lee still thinks that the market is going to pump. In fact, Tom Lee and Bitmine, the DAT for accumulating Ethereum, they bought the dip. And it's awesome. It's awesome to be surrounded by people with differing opinions. And we get a cheat code because we can choose all of these opinions to pay attention to in this market all at the same time to then come to our own conclusions. So the only person we can ever blame for our decisions is ourselves. If they end up being the wrong decisions, we learn. If they end up being the right decisions, we learn. These are all tickets to our school of trading and investing. All right. You don't see Warren Buffett turning around and being like, well, Tom Lee told me to buy some railway company, and now that railway company had a train crash and my stock went down. This is the most nonsense thing ever. Even if he heard from someone about his railway company and then the railway company had a crash, he wouldn't be blaming the person he heard it from, all right? So this is one of the key skills to an investor and trader. We use the knowledge out there. But this may very well turn out to be the case. So what will you do if Sean Farrell is correct? Bitcoin drops to 60K, which, by the way, isn't even remotely as bad as the previous bear markets we've had. In fact, 60K, right, would be in line with the pullback we had in 21, right, which didn't end up being the end, because this pullback, if I can get my little trusty measuring tool out, was about 55%. If we get our trusty measuring tool here, go from the high to a 55% drop, guess what? That's 56K. It's actually higher than the pullback we had before the next leg. So even though this is super bearish and sounds horrible, it isn't even as bad as a pullback we had in the last bull market. So for everyone who's new that thinks crypto is a scam, that Bitcoin is a scam, that everything's dead, that Tom Lee is a scammer and Michael Saylor is a scammer and all of that, think about these things, all right? We may very well go into a bear market, but the world and the world of the Tom Lees and the Michael Saylors, they're not against you. I don't believe they're out here to manipulate us into buying so they can dump on us. But maybe I'm naive, maybe I'm wrong. But that's fine. This is my strategy and my opinion. Use some of what I'm saying as part of your opinion that you form using all of these different things that we get from the market. Now, one of the things that is making me relatively bullish on the market, right, is not only that we have a ton of shorts in the market. We do have a worrying amount of longs, but we have a ton of shorts. And guys, the sentiment is bad. The sentiment is bad. The video I made yesterday about Tom Lee and this leaked email. Oh, everyone is angry. They're angry at Tom Lee. They're angry at Michael Saylor. They're angry at the market. And I'll tell you, from memory, that's not the market situation I was in here. Everyone was actually bullish. Everyone was expecting there to be the next leg right here, whereas nobody is expecting that here. Everyone is betting that the price is down. Nobody thinks we're getting a move here. Everyone thinks that Michael Saylor and Tom Lee are essentially criminals, which is wild, right? They just have an opinion and they're basing their business and their entire reputation on this opinion. So it doesn't make sense that there's some nefarious acts going on. Also, the FUD that's spreading about Michael Saylor being margin called, I don't necessarily think that's the case. The margin and the debt that he has isn't the same as like going onto an exchange and getting leverage, right? And then getting liquidated. That's not how that debt actually works. And this is very similar FUD that we had back in the last bear market. Everyone was saying, well, Michael Saylor's company is about to explode, and it never did. And it actually opened an opportunity of a lifetime to buy MicroStrategy, to buy Bitcoin. Now, I'm not saying this will happen again, but that is the market that I've been in, and that is what happens in this market time in and time out. The crowd moves one way while the opportunity opens up because of that move. And I want to do the opposite, right? That's how I've made my money, doing the opposite in a bear market, doing the opposite in a bull market, right? And Tom Lee, 2026 could still be a double-digit year. Tom Lee lays out the case. Markets have had 3 straight plus 20% years, only 12 times in 100 years. 50% of the time, the next year is even stronger. Dovish Fed, solid GDP historically, and a strong finish. History says the cycle isn't done yet. Let me know what you think about that in the comment section. But the 10 a.m. manipulation continues with the big push to the upside above 90 and then 60 billion wiped out from the crypto market just a few hours after the markets opened. But what's interesting, gold near all-time high, silver near all-time high, S&P 500 near all-time high, NASDAQ near all-time high, Dow near all-time high, but Bitcoin is down 28% from its peak, having the worst Q4 in the last 7 years without any negative news, FUD, or scandal. There is no explanation according to bull theory apart from pure market manipulation. Guys, this line right here, right? The worst Q4 in the last 7 years without any negative news. That makes me excited. The worst in 7 years. We are already at the other side of a sentence, the worst in 7 years. That's not to say it can't get significantly worse. However, in my opinion, the risk goes down as the price goes down. Buying at all-time highs is extremely risky. Buying after the worst 7 years, or the worst Q4 in 7 years, is much less risky in my opinion. I'm, however, not telling you to go out and buy Bitcoin right now. I am not buying it right now. I bought a significant amount on that big push to the downside, and now I'm waiting patiently. Do we bounce? Do we head lower? The strategy is simple. Buy more as the price goes down, right? Wait patiently for a bounce and then go into the next euphoric stage of the market, all the while making the best of the volatility in the market by short-term trading it following my bounce strategy, which is still working. So as it's still working, I've taken my foot off the gas slightly. I've pulled back. There's nowhere near as many trades as I would normally have open. As you know, normally have, 10 trades, 20 trades open. Right now I have 4 trades, right? I have the higher leverage Dogecoin trade, and then I have the Solana ETH and Bitcoin lower leverage trades, Bitcoin and Ethereum in profit, Solana in $6,400 of a loss, waiting patiently after heavily DCAing into these positions in the crash. And now my cards are on the table, the roulette wheel is spinning, and I'll just wait to see what happens. Remember the key, use money I can afford to lose, dollar cost average of money I make monthly, the extra money, and then I can outstay and I can stay solvent longer than most people in this market, not using any emotion, following a strict strategy. Let me know what you think down there in the description or in the comment section about the whole Tom Lee saga and scandal. And what do you think about this guy? Give him a little name. Give him a name down there in the comment section. I want you to guess his name. He's been very interested in what's going on right now. So with that said, guys, I'll see you in the next one.